Our First Looks coverage is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Get your next laptop, tablet, Xbox, and more by going to firstlooks.tv/Microsoft. First things first, if you're watching live, I want to apologize for the technical difficulties that we just experienced. As you know, we're kind of in a weird dual studio setup where none of our technology is quite the thing that we want to be using anywhere today. So I apologize for that weirdness. We're going to go, I say we go back to where the headphones cut out.
I think that's a great idea.
I'm going to bet you money that that's when everything went sideways on us.
Yes.
So what were we talking about at that point?
I believe we were talking about how we take parts from the 2018 test out on the 18 car and apply it to the 19 car.
Okay, so let's go back and we'll start at we build a new car every year.
Yes.
And we'll start from there, and I think we'll be good.
So for every year we do build a new car.
Okay.
We base it off of the chassis possibly from the year before.
Okay.
If it was worked well. And we will take improvements on that. Weight reduction is a big one.
Okay, yeah.
Lowering the center of mass. That's another big one because you can take turns faster when you do that.
Yeah.
So.
And any other limitations that your previous car may have had for the new year.
So you take that kind of combined knowledge every year.
Yes.
And
yes.
You don't start over because you're keeping all that knowledge, but you start over.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So we will have, by the end, I'd say, of by February, we should have 2 working cars. The 2018 car and the 2019 car.
Okay.
But the 2019 car is the one that we will bring to competitions. The 18 car is just what we test on.
How do the competitions look?
I have not currently yet been to a competition.
What year student are you?
I'm a first year.
First year, okay.
So I have not been to competitions yet, but from what I've heard, that you travel up in a truck in a car with a trailer.
Okay.
You have about, I think 10 to 15 people all in the car together. You drive up, get to, we'll just go with Michigan, because Michigan seems to be the biggest one.
Okay.
So you go there, you set up your car, you just set up camp there on the infield, and you have to go through a statics test, which is you have a tilt test. So they put your car on a little tilt table, and they'll literally put the car onto its side to make sure that it won't roll over if it's sideways. Again, dealing with the center of mass.
Sure. Naturally. Sure, of course.
So you have that event there. You have a whole business presentation. So you have
okay.
Yes.
I wasn't prepared to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. This is it's a very, just like a Formula 1 race team.
Okay.
You have to put down every little piece you have, put into the car. That has to be recorded. You have to put in product orders in to record everything.
So that sounds very similar to the engineering notebook that these students have to put together.
It is very similar.
Okay.
Because there's a bill of materials in the engineering notebook. Essentially what we always tell the students is the engineering notebook, if your trailer were to disconnect on the way to a competition and your robot were destroyed, could you use your book to rebuild it tomorrow?
That is a very good analogy to what SAE has to do.
Okay.
So
that's awesome.
I mean, all the parts are there. And there's a huge presentation that a lot of the design leads present to that. Now, that's a lot of people aren't too big on that thing because, the car isn't driving. You don't hear the roar of the engine. Mm-hmm. So then you have the dynamic events. So there are 3 parts to that. You have the autocross, the acceleration, and the endurance.
Okay.
I was going to ask about exactly how we competed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So
the endurance is probably kind of similar to what the Electrothon race is, where it's all about being able to go for as much time as possible.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm just going to start with the autocross because that's the first event that you do. The autocross has a lot of tight chicanes and slaloms that, like, yeah, it's a lot. If you don't know what that is,
So it's a driving race.
Yes, it's a very it's a driver's race. You have a lot of sharp turns, quick thinking skills. You really have to be, like, on your toes, paying attention to everything.
Okay.
So that tends to be, like, kind of like the qualifying sort of thing to determine, like, where you'll start in endurance.
Okay.
You also have the acceleration. I'm not quite sure what the distance is. It's something like, I want to say 100 meters or 200 meters.
Okay.
Just from start all the way to the end, how fast can you get the car to go?
Okay, so
and
it's a
in how
drag
time.
race.
Yes, essentially.
Yeah.
Got it.
Then finally, the main event is the endurance. Now, this is a 22-mile course, I believe.
Oh.
Either 22 miles or 22 kilometers. Either way,
It's a long race.
it's a long race.
Got
it takes about 25 to 30 minutes to complete. Now,
Okay.
this part is what separates the teams that really built their car well and the teams that built their car all right. Because to get there, you still have to build a car.
Sure.
Either
Yeah.
way, it's an impressive feat.
Yeah.
But more than 50% of the cars in endurance,
Don't finish.
they do not finish.
Okay. So if they don't finish, what do they do? Do they overheat and stop? Do they
Run out
not
of
have enough
gasoline, yeah.
fuel? What
But one
What
of
are
the
the problems?
biggest challenges is that midway through the endurance, you have to pull into the pits, turn the car off, do a driver change, start the car back up, and then go out again.
And that's where most of them.
Yes, most of the
won't
cars will
restart.
not start.
Got it.
They
That
won't
totally
start.
makes sense.
Okay.
Yep. So you have that's one of the biggest challenges in the endurance event.
So I'm guessing that each of these events, you have time to prepare your car before. They don't just go back to back to back.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. You will have a good amount of time in between each event to get your car ready, make sure everything's all good.
Fill it up, you know.
Yeah, get the
Okay.
gas in the tank, figure out how much gas you want to put in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the endurance event, the weight of the fuel,
Mm-hmm.
at first it's a big thing
Uh-huh.
because you're putting in, like, I think maybe like a gallon, 2 gallons of fuel into the car.
Mm-hmm.
That can be 10 pounds, up to 10 pounds. I'm not
Okay.
sure quite the conversion, but
Okay.
as the race goes on, your fuel level gets lower and lower.
Yeah.
Your weight of the car gets lower and lower. Therefore, you're able to brake harder, brake later, accelerate more quickly as you progress.
So you're dealing with this constant change
Yes.
in how the car drives
Exactly.
as the thing goes on.
Yes, and especially since
Oh.
the car, our
Yeah.
car is only 476 pounds. 476 pounds.
Okay.
Okay.
4 of us, we can all lift the car up.
Yeah.
No problem. So that 10-pound difference, 7-pound difference, that has a major effect on the way that the car drives.
What, 2.5%? Give or take?
So, something
That's-
sounds about
It's like 2.5% of the vehicle's weight. That's
Yes.
a
Yeah.
huge change.
Huge change.
To happen, like in the
Yeah.
middle of a thing.
Yep.
Is the endurance also a timed race where it's like if you finish first, you get like
Yes. So
Okay.
if you do make it through,
like
Which-
if there are 2 cars,
Which
for
is
example.
a huge
yes,
if.
that is a
if.
huge.
But if,
Yes.
for example, if there are 2 cars that are able to make it to the end, is
Oh,
it
yes.
timed?
Yes,
based
it is
on
timed.
Who?
Okay.
Okay.
So whoever has the fastest time with the least amount of penalty points,
They get most.
they
Oh.
will win. Because
Okay.
penalties, if you miss, say you hit a cone, that docks your points. You
Yeah.
get seconds added to your time.
Another question of mine is you said this was a 20-something mile endurance race.
Either kilometer or miles. Yes.
Okay. So who monitors throughout the entire course each car? So like if you hit a cone, who monitors you hit that cone?
Well,
That's a good question. 'cause
Yeah.
It's a
that
very
is
long,
a very good question.
It's a very long race.
I have not actually been to one
Fair
of them
enough.
yet, but in my experiences with actual autocrosses, you do have corner workers who will be looking out for that.
Okay.
So they'll see you. They have radios. If this car hit a cone, hey, let's just
Number
go.
24.
Yeah, UCF just hit a cone.
Okay.
So they put that over the radio. Then they mark that down.
makes sense.
Okay.
But the timing and the times is all electronic. So you will have very, very accurate times.
Yeah.
When is
So,
your first race?
First race is the very end of May.
Okay.
So you have enough time to prepare.
Yes.
Or at least,
So,
yeah.
yeah, we were planning to have our design done, which is all done in SolidWorks, which is a CAD system.
Mhm.
We're planning to have that all completed by the mid-November.
Okay.
So that way we can start building the car from December through February. Gives us about 3 months. We might have vacations here and there just because you have Christmas coming around the corner and all that.
Yeah.
So once in New Year's, of course. So that'll give us 3 months to put everything together, to get all the parts milled using CNC machines,
Yeah.
3D printing some of the plastic parts that we do use. So once the car gets together, we'll have about 2 months of testing. And that's putting the car through the ringer.
Finding those places where the car doesn't come back on.
Exactly. So the trick is you want to fail in testing. That way you can succeed
On the track.
on the track.
Fair enough.
What is your field of study again?
I am a first-year student in mechanical engineering.
Okay, mechanical.
Yes.
Then
I didn't hear that earlier.
This whole thing kind of fits you like a glove, doesn't
Sounds
it?
awesome.
You have no idea.
Were
It is
you a
just
part of
awesome.
First before?
I
Or
actually
you
was
only
not.
heard about First?
Oh.
In middle school, actually, I don't know if you know what bot ball is.
No.
Nobody knows what bot ball is. That was like the biggest thing when I was in middle school.
Okay.
But it's very similar to this.
People who are in the chat room, if you know what we're talking about, let us know.
Yeah, bot ball.
'Cause I'm very curious about this.
Yeah, so I did bot ball in 6th and 7th grade. It was very similar to the Lego League that they're doing down there right now. So it was that same sort of thing. So I did have a little bit of that knowledge, but when I walked in here today and I saw this,
Whoa!
I
This is
was
your first time
blown
seeing
away.
it.
Oh,
both ears are back on now.
This is your first time.
This is
seeing
my first
all
time
of this
seeing
stuff.
all of this.
Okay.
Yes, and it is absolutely amazing seeing all the awesome projects that these kids are all putting together.
It's crazy, isn't
Well,
it?
really
they,
is.
They at least have something to look forward to. I mean, at least at the University of South Florida.
Yes,
Right.
There's so many different outlets for
Yeah.
robotic students to go into.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
it's awesome
With-
hearing about this.
With
Yep.
USF Racing and the USF Electrothon
Yes.
team, and there's all kinds of stuff that.
There's a lot of outlets for students
yeah.
to apply their knowledge from First. So
At USF, if you want to learn about something, especially in the STEM field, robotics, cars, electrical stuff, you can do that. Like, there's no limitation on what you can learn.
That's
here.
awesome.
So
So if our viewers want to find more about the racing at USF, where can they go and how can they?
So if you all want to know more about what we do here at racing at USF, you can search up USF Formula SAE. So you can just put F-SAE or USF Racing on Google or YouTube. You can see a bunch of our race videos that we have up there, pictures of our cars. You can also follow us on Instagram at USF Racing. That's going to be one of our main media outlets. So
All right.
Very cool.
Thank
Well,
you so
thanks
much.
for
Well,
coming and talking
thank
to
you.
us.
I really
and,
appreciate you having us on the show.
Absolutely.
Right.
Have a good rest of the event.
You too.